Good morning, Mark Watts here again on Mobile Bay. It's a beautiful day. It's actually, it feels like a little fall in the air. It's a little cooler, a little drier. It's a great time of year. I love the fall, and the migration comes in. So, in previous series, we talked about two sins. One, not having a spare battery, and one is not having a memory card with you, a spare memory card. Either one of them will stop the day. So, this series, or this video presentation, I'd like to talk to you about two mistakes that we make, common mistakes. One is not getting enough shutter speed. The shutter speed freezes the action, you get more detail. It also, if you can't get your shutter speed up enough and you don't have any vibration in your lens or your camera, you get camera shake, and that makes for a blurry picture too. So the higher the shutter speed, usually the sharper the image. So to get that, I always shoot at about f8 or 9.5, the lowest I can get with this teleconverter on here. So that's already set. I always shoot on auto ISO. So my ISO number goes up and down as I adjust my shutter speed. Well, the higher the shutter speed, the higher the ISO. So it's a compromise. I can't shoot above about 6,000 ISO, because when I do, I start getting too much noise in the photo, and it doesn't matter what software you use, you can't clean it up. I do use Topaz denoise on all my pictures, no matter what the ISO. That's the first step in my processing. So remember that. Shutter speed. Watch your shutter speed. Try and keep it as high as possible, but while keeping your ISO as low as possible. It's a trade-off. The second thing is that the animals, when they sit there and you find them and you sneak up on them and you finally start getting those pictures, we always have a tendency to zoom in and get a full frame. We want to fool the frame with this animal. But what happens is when this animal gets ready to take off, they'll give you the signals usually. You learn. They stretch their wings, stretch their neck, they become 2 or 3 times as large as they were just sitting there. When they do this, and you're trying to track them and follow them, it makes it difficult because you're so zoomed in. If you zoom out a little, it makes them easier to track, and also, you don't cut their wings, their heads off, and it makes a much nicer picture. You can always crop them later. So, these are my two solutions for two mistakes that we make. Y'all have a great day, and I really appreciate you following me. It's been fun doing these. I'm trying to be creative and think of different things to come up with every week, and this is the one for this week. Follow me on Facebook on the Waterline Photos, or Instagram, Bayou Runner. Y'all have a great day. Okay, we have a hooded warbler here in the woods. It's dark. It's shot at 1/350th of a second, ISO of 4,000 at 5.6. f-stop. As you can see, it's quite dirty around the fringes, but when I run it through Topaz denoise, look how it cleaned up the green base of the tail. Much nicer photo. Everybody should run denoise on these. It really helps. All right, we're talking about motion blur. This is a prime example of an owl sitting in a tree. It's at 1/60th of a second, 9.5 at an ISO of 3200, and you can see that it looks all right, but when you have a mockingbird attack it, look at the blur in the wings. Now this one, I increased it to 1/500th of a second at f8 and an ISO of 6400, and it still blurred the wings. So sometimes you just can't get enough light to get a great picture, and you just have to accept what you have and maybe have the animal sitting still. As far as the birds getting bigger, this happens like with this eagle here. It was 1/1000th of a second, f-stop of 6.7, ISO with 200, which is pretty good. But as I mentioned, when these birds spread their wings, they get bigger. And here you can see I actually backed away. These are full frame photos, and I backed away, and then I got greedy and I zoomed back in, and when he decided to jump straight up, I cut the tip of his wing off. Happens every time. So zoom out when you get these birds of prey or animals that are sitting there and they want to take off. Y'all have a great day.